Hello, my name is Billy Parrish. Today, with the assistance of my daughter's dog Verity, we're going to install a Serpentine belt on her 2014 Chevy Cruz. So this is not a major ordeal. This is not a big job. This is pretty easy. After 45 years of working on cars, master GM Goodwrench, this is a pretty simple job. I've been retired, but I recently viewed a couple videos to make sure I had what I needed. And after watching those videos, I decided I better do a video because what I saw was so ridiculous that I couldn't even believe my eyes. Alright, so let's make this an easy job. First thing is, you don't need a floor jack. You don't need jack stands. You don't need any of that nonsense. You can do this in your driveway in front of your garage. That's where I'm at right now. My garage is so full of stuff I can't get in there. Alright, so here's what you do need. You need some wood. You need a block of wood, a good sized block of wood. You need a 2x4 right here, and then you're going to need a shim, a thin piece of plywood or paneling wood or whatever you've got for a shim. Get a piece of cardboard. That's what I did. Lay on it. I climbed underneath the car. I took the wood, took the big piece, put it underneath the oil pan. The 2x4 goes between the oil pan and it's got a shield there, a belt shield that keeps the rocks and stuff out of your out of the belt area, so that makes it good. So you can lay the 2x4 in there and then take your shim, and you'll see back by the oil plug, you don't want to cover the oil plug with the wood, but near it you'll want to take that shim and just even up that 2x4, and you've got a nice comfortable seat. So when the engine's released, it goes right on there and just drops right on there with hardly any movement at all. Okay, so you've got your wood assembly underneath there. It's self-explanatory. I think you'll see it's pretty simple. So then you're going to need to take your air filter assembly off. So what I did was, it's a two-piece assembly here. You've got a wire here for your mass airflow. You're going to have a PVC, which is right here. You want to gently pull that out of there. I used a small screwdriver on this part of the air filter here, on your MAP sensor, so that your mass airflow sensor, so that you just take your screwdriver in there and just gently push back on that, and that red clip will release it, and then it'll come off. So when you put it back on, that'll clip back on nice. You won't have to worry about that thing coming undone. That's an important sensor. All sensors are important, but that's in particular a really important one. Alright, so then you've got your air assembly off. It came off in two pieces, and it just pulls out. GM did a good job on this. It just pops right out. Just got rubber that slides in. You'll see. It's so easy. Any a 6-year-old could do this. So get your assembly out of there. And then the next thing you want to do is, knowing that you're safe underneath, you've got your wood where it should be. It's square with your oil pan. You want to release these 3 bolts right here. That's what's holding your motor up. They're 15 millimeter. They're all 3 the same length. So you can pull those out and put those in your parts bin, and then your parts pan there, and then the motor will drop about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch, somewhere in that frame. That's okay. That's fine. 1/4 of an inch is fine. So get that out of the way. Next thing is, you got 3 bolts here, one here, one here, and one here. These are all 15s. They're different lengths. The one's got a nut. These 2 are different lengths. So I pulled that assembly out. I've always made a practice of keeping things in their holes if possible, and that's what I did on this. I pulled it out as assembly, laid it to the side. All the bolts were in the same place they were when I took it out. Easy peasy when you put it back together. Alright, now the last thing you want to do now is, because you've got this bracket, and this comes with this bracket, so this whole, it's a two pieces here. This assembly here, it's got 6 bolts total, and then your engine mount here, it's got 3 bolts, one here, and then one down by the idler. This is all the tools you need right here. 15 millimeter. You need an E14 inverted Torx, a little screwdriver, and I have an impact. That makes it a lot easier. But you don't even need that if you've got a longer extension. You don't even need that. I would suggest using the impact though, if you can. So next thing is, you've got the one bracket off. Now you want to go get this bracket off. 3 bolts. Undo these. You can pull this assembly out with the bolts still in their hole sleeves. I suggest doing that because they are different lengths. Just easy, pull that assembly right out of there. Your motor's sitting on the wood. It's no problem. Nothing's going anywhere. So now you've got both assemblies out of your way, and the belt is there in front of your eyes. It's so easy. You would take your inverter Torx. You want to put it on the idler, which is down here. It's kind of hard to see from this but I've already put it on, so, but it's down here. Pull it towards the front of the car, the torque towards the front of the car. It releases the belt. Go ahead and pull your belt off. Get it out of the way. Now when you're putting it back together, I've seen this in these videos. I can't believe my eyes when I see this stuff. But anyway, you want to make sure you get your belt on all of the pulleys that have an edge on them. The last thing you want to do is put the belt on the idler. So get it up to where the idler is at least. And then you can put your 15 millimeter, your inverted 14 millimeter on the Torx on the idler, and pull it forward and slide that belt right over, because there's no lip on an idler. That's the trick. There's no lip at all on the side of an idler pulley. It just slides right on. Instead of having the torque so hard that you're trying to get it over a lip of one of the other pulleys, that's ridiculous. No, just the idler pulley is your last. So get it on, make sure everything's in track, make sure all make sure you can just feel your hand go around, make sure everything's in the track. Go ahead and get your other, your first bracket, your motor bracket. If you don't have never sees right here, I suggest you get yourself a can. You put these things back on, you want to always never seize the threads. You want to put that lubrication on there so that the next time you do this job, you don't have to worry about these things being locked up. I mean, aluminum on aluminum, they will lock up. So the never seize on the threads is the trick. So go ahead and hand tighten these three here, one down by the idler and one here. Tighten them up by hand, and then once you get them to a point where they're pretty snug, go ahead and put a final torque on all three of them with a wrench. That's all you need is a wrench on those. Next thing is you want to go ahead and put your top bracket back on. This whole entire assembly here goes back on. Again, never seize the threads. Put these three back on. Tighten this down. Then you can this has a rubber in here inside of the bracket here. You can just maneuver this, just pull it towards you a little bit, and you can just hand thread these three bolts right down in there. Never seize those bolts again. Hand thread them down in there to where you're comfortable that you know you've got them in there. And now, of course, I was able to impact them up evenly, got a good torque on them. So then in my final, I was able to have a nice even surface, and everything was mounted correctly so that I'm comfortable that one bolt isn't doing the work of two. So you've got all your bolts tightened up, and I used a Duralast. They're made in Tennessee. That's the belt I used. USA. It's a good belt. I think you'll be fine there. If you don't have an E14, you're going to have to probably go buy yourself a set of sockets, because that's one tool you're going to need on these cars. Other than that, pretty much it's just basic. So this is about a half-an-hour job in your front and your driveway, and no jacks, no stands, no nonsense. You don't got to climb with your car 25,000 times. This is one time under, one time out, and you're done. So I suggest getting your never seize. That's the key to everything. And always remember, put your belt over the idler last, and you'll have no problem getting your serpentine belts on any car. Put your air filter assembly back together and vacuum it out. Don't let stuff lay in there. You got it off already. Take a shop vac and clean all that stuff out of there while you got it apart, and you're done. So congratulations and good luck.